All right. So are you ready to like dive deep into this Discover Your Life Purpose seminar?
Oh, yeah. Let's do it.
We've got all this great material from Personal Growth Lab
Mm-hmm.
to really kind of unpack some of this like personal growth stuff.
Yeah.
We've got their seminar slides, and it even looks like they have like a companion workbook and all this stuff.
Oh, wow. That's really cool. I like that they've got that interactive element, because
Yep.
sometimes it's like you just listen to something,
Right.
but to actually like write it down,
Yeah.
it just makes it that much more powerful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Like, you can listen to stuff all day, but until you actually start putting pen to paper and like really thinking about it in a different way,
Yeah.
like it just doesn't quite sink in.
Totally. And that's actually something they really emphasize right off the bat in this seminar. It's like they get right to it.
Oh, really?
That commitment and accountability.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So they just kind of hit the ground running with that.
Oh, yeah. They don't sugarcoat it. It's like they're
Yeah.
saying, listen, this whole figuring out your life purpose thing,
Mm-hmm.
it takes work.
It's true, though.
Yeah, it's not just going to like magically appear, you know?
Yeah, there's no magic wand.
Right, exactly. You got to put in the effort. You got to show up for yourself.
Yeah, and do the work even when it's tough, right?
Exactly. And that's where that whole accountability thing comes in.
That's so true.
Like you were saying,
Yeah.
having that support system can make all the difference.
Oh, absolutely. Like, it's so easy to get like, sidetracked
Absolutely.
when you're on this journey of self-discovery.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have people in your corner, to kind of like give you that little nudge when
Yeah.
you need it.
Like a little cheerleader.
Yeah, exactly. Like your own personal cheering section for like your soul searching.
I love that.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're realistic about it too. They're like, not all your friends are going to be on board with this whole like inner work thing.
Oh, totally. Because not everyone's ready to like face those big questions, you know?
Right. It can be kind of intimidating.
Yeah. And sometimes when you see someone else like embarking on that journey, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
I should be doing that too.
Right. Or like, wait a minute.
Yeah,
Am I like not doing enough?
exactly.
That's a really good point.
So yeah, it's like a little mirror to
Yeah.
your own like unlived dreams,
That's a really good way to put it.
Yeah.
It's like a reminder to be really mindful of like who you share this journey with.
Mm.
Right?
Totally.
Okay. So they kind of like, set the stage there with this whole like, you got to be committed. You got to have that accountability.
Mm-hmm.
But how do they actually approach this whole concept of life purpose? Because, you hear people talk about it all the time, but like,
Yeah.
is it this predestined path that we're all supposed to be on?
Right.
Or is it more like a choose your own adventure kind of deal?
Yeah, they actually address both of those sides.
Int-
They dive into this concept of soul purpose,
Yeah.
this idea that we each have like this predetermined path, maybe even connected to something bigger than ourselves, like something spiritual even.
Okay.
But then they also acknowledge this idea of personal purpose.
Oh.
Like we have the agency to choose our own path,
Oh, yeah.
that we're not just like puppets on a string.
So it's not necessarily about like choosing a side. It's just like
Yeah.
understanding that both perspectives exist.
Exactly. And that they can even like overlap sometimes.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So you could have this kind of like, predestined path,
Mm-hmm.
but you also have the free will to kind of like
Right.
make your own choices along the way.
Exactly.
I like that. Kind of like honors both sides of that coin.
Totally.
That's really cool. And I'm curious, what they say about the benefits of actually like figuring out your life purpose. Because, you hear people talk about it, but is it just this like abstract concept, or are there like tangible ways that it can actually improve your life?
They actually go into that in quite a bit of detail.
Okay, good.
Like they don't just talk the talk.
Yeah.
They walk you through the benefits, like reduced stress,
Oh, yeah.
stronger relationships, a deeper sense of meaning and purpose,
Right.
even like feeling more resilient in the face of challenges, like all this good stuff.
It's like a recipe for a more fulfilling life.
Exactly.
Sign me up.
Right.
I'm starting to understand why so many people are drawn to this whole like life purpose thing.
It's not just some passing fad.
Right.
It's about tapping into something much deeper within ourselves.
Yeah.
It's like they say in the seminar, humans have this like deep-seated need for purpose.
It's true.
It's in our DNA.
Yeah.
And when we tap into it, it impacts every area of our lives, our well-being, our relationships, our resilience.
Everything.
Everything. Yeah.
We become like the best versions of
Oh,
ourselves.
exactly.
I love it. Okay. So we're all fired up about the benefits.
Yeah.
But where do we even begin? Like, how do we actually start to uncover this like elusive thing called life purpose?
Well, they actually break it down in a really clever way using this metaphor of a puzzle.
Okay, a puzzle.
Yeah, with
Right.
all these different pieces that represent
Okay.
the different elements that contribute to finding your purpose.
I'm intrigued. What's like the first piece of the puzzle?
So they start with the foundation,
Okay.
the bedrock upon which our sense of self is built,
Okay.
childhood influences.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, they really encourage people to like dig deep into their past experiences,
Hmm.
to explore how those early years might have shaped their beliefs, their behaviors, even their subconscious patterns.
It's all connected, right? Like our past experiences really do lay the groundwork for who we become.
Absolutely. And it's not just about like dwelling on the past. It's
Yeah.
about understanding how those early experiences might be showing up in our present lives, often in ways that we don't even realize.
Right. It's like shining a light on those subconscious patterns that we
Exactly.
developed over time.
Yeah, and sometimes we repeat those patterns without even realizing it.
That's so true.
So it's about bringing that awareness to those patterns,
Yeah.
and then we can start to make different choices.
It's like they're giving you permission to re-examine those formative years with a fresh perspective,
Yeah, exactly.
to see how they might have shaped the lens through which you view the world.
I love the lens through which you view the world.
Yeah.
Because it's so true. We all have our own unique lenses,
We do.
and those lenses are shaped by our experiences.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And speaking of lenses, the next puzzle piece is all about passion and interests.
Oh, I like this one.
Yeah, this is a good one. And they ask this really thought-provoking question.
Okay.
Can you actually find your passion?
Oh, that's a good question.
Right.
Because I feel like we're always told to like find our passion,
Right.
but what if it's not about finding it? What if it's about cultivating it?
Ooh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's what they suggest in the seminar.
So it's not just like you're wandering around and you like trip over your passion. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh, there it is.
Right.
It's more about like cultivating it over time.
Like a garden.
Yeah,
You have to like plant the seeds,
nurture it,
water it.
give it sunlight.
Exactly, and then it will grow.
I love that analogy. And it makes me think about all the things that we're passionate about in our lives. Like,
Right.
how did those passions develop?
Right. It's not like we were just born with them.
Exactly. It was through consistent engagement and I think most importantly, joy.
Yes.
Like if you're not enjoying something,
Yeah.
you're probably not going to be very passionate about it.
That's such a good point, and they don't just leave it there.
No, they keep going.
Because they talk about how passion often goes hand in hand with talent and skill,
Yes.
which is really interesting because sometimes we think of those as separate things.
Yeah. Like you could be passionate about something, but not necessarily good at it.
Right. Or you can be good at something but not necessarily passionate about it. Exactly. But when those two things come together,
Magic.
that's when the magic happens.
Yeah, that's when you know you're really onto something special.
Totally.
Okay, so we've got childhood influences, we've got passions. What's the next piece of this life purpose puzzle? Because I'm hooked. I want to know more.
Okay, so next up, they want you to take a look at your personality.
Okay, personality.
And they ask this really interesting question. How many of you are there?
How many of me are there? What does that even mean?
Right.
Like, are they suggesting we have multiple personalities?
Not exactly, but they are acknowledging that we all have different facets to our personalities.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Think about it. You probably act differently around your boss than you do with your best friend or your grandma, right?
Oh, 100% different versions of myself, depending on who I'm with.
Exactly. And that's totally normal. We all do it.
Okay, good. I thought I was the only one.
No, you're in good company.
Okay, good to know.
But understanding those different facets and how they show up in different situations, that's all part of this self-discovery process.
It's like becoming aware of the different masks that we wear.
Yeah, and when we become aware of those masks, we can start to choose which ones we want to wear.
Right, and when and why.
Exactly. It's all about conscious choice.
I love it. Okay, so we've got our personality exploration going on. And speaking of exploration, the next piece of the puzzle focuses on life-changing experiences and coincidences.
Ooh, this is a good one.
Okay, tell me more.
They're talking about those moments that kind of make you stop and say, wait a minute, was that just a coincidence or was there something more at play here?
Like those synchronicities.
Exactly. Those synchronicities, those moments that shake things up, that
Yeah.
shift your perspective,
Hmm.
those can be gold mines of insight when it comes to uncovering your purpose.
Because they make you question everything.
They do, and they often lead us down new and unexpected paths.
That's so true. And I think sometimes we have those experiences, but we're so quick to dismiss them.
Yeah.
Yes, we're like, oh, that was weird. And then we just move on.
But they're saying no, like, lean into those experiences.
Exactly.
Don't be afraid to explore them.
What did you learn from that experience? How did it change you?
Yeah, what did it reveal about what truly matters to you?
Exactly. They want you to mine those experiences for the wisdom they hold.
I love that mine them for wisdom. And speaking of wisdom, the next piece of the puzzle tackles those pesky things called limiting beliefs.
Oh, yes, limiting beliefs, we all have them.
Those sneaky little voices in our heads that tell us we're not good enough, not smart enough, not brave enough.
Exactly. And they can really hold us back from living our best lives.
They can be like invisible barriers that we construct around ourselves.
That's a great way to put it, invisible barriers.
Right, and we don't even realize that we're the ones who built those barriers.
We're so used to them that we don't even question them.
Right, we just accept them as truth.
But here's the good news. They're not set in stone.
Okay, good.
We have the power to break free from them.
I like the sound of that. And that's what this part of the seminar is all about, identifying those limiting beliefs and challenging their validity.
Because what if those limitations are just illusion stories we've been telling ourselves for years?
Exactly. What if you're capable of so much more than you realize?
Right. What if we're all capable of so much more than we realize?
Exactly. And once you start to dismantle those limiting beliefs, you create space for something truly incredible to emerge your authentic self.
That's beautiful. And that leads us to the next piece of the puzzle, values.
Values, yes.
Values are so important. They're like our guiding principles.
They are our compass.
Yes, they point us in the direction that we want to go.
Exactly. And sometimes we go through life without really examining our values.
That's true. We just kind of inherit them from our families or our culture.
And we don't stop to question whether they truly align with who we are and what we want to create.
It's like we're on autopilot.
Exactly. And this part of the seminar is about getting intentional about what you stand for.
I love that word, intention.
It's about making conscious choices about your values.
Yes.
And sometimes that means letting go of values that no longer serve us.
Right. It's about creating a life that feels aligned from the inside out.
Exactly. A life that reflects your truest self.
And that brings us to the final piece of the puzzle.
The grand finale.
The grand finale, taking your power back and clarifying your purpose.
Yes, this is where it all comes together.
So they're not just throwing a bunch of information at you and then saying, good luck figuring it out.
I know, they actually give you a framework
Okay.
for putting it all together.
Amazing.
For creating your own personal life purpose statement.
I love that because I think sometimes we hear all this information about personal development, but then we're like, okay, but how do I actually apply this to my life?
Right.
Like, how do I take all of this and turn it into something tangible?
Exactly. And they give you the tools to do that.
He's like, okay, you've done the inner work. You've explored all the pieces of the puzzle. Now it's time to create a masterpiece.
Yes, and they even give you an example in the materials.
Oh, wow, they do.
Yeah, it says, my purpose is to empower those dedicated to serving others by leveraging my experiences and knowledge. I strive to witness their personal and professional growth, fostering a ripple effect of inspiration and shared learning within their communities and businesses.
Wow, that's powerful.
Right.
And it shows that, like, finding your purpose often involves contributing to something bigger than yourself.
Yes. It's about making a positive impact on the world around you.
Right. It's not just about us.
Exactly. It's about aligning your unique gifts and passions with a cause that resonates deeply with your soul.
So it's about finding that sweet spot where you can make a difference while doing what you love.
Exactly. And that's what it's all about.
I love it. Okay. So they've given us all the tools, the frameworks, the inspiration, but let's be real, this whole self-discovery thing can be intense.
Oh, yeah. It's not always sunshine and rainbows.
Right. It's not always easy to face those big questions, to delve into the depths of our own being.
And they acknowledge that they're not afraid to go there.
Oh,
Yeah. They have a whole section dedicated to suffering versus pain.
oh, interesting. Okay.
And they introduce this concept early on in the seminar, and then they keep circling back to it throughout.
Why do you think they emphasize this distinction so much?
Because they understand that growth isn't always linear.
Right. It's not always a straight line from point A to point B.
Exactly. There will be ups and downs,
Mm-hmm.
moments of joy and moments of doubt,
Of course.
times when you feel like you're flying high and times when you feel completely lost.
That's okay.
Exactly. It's all part of the process.
Yep.
But what they want you to understand is that you don't have to suffer.
Okay, I'm listening. What's the difference between suffering and pain in this context?
They explain it beautifully using a simple visual,
Okay.
a smaller circle labeled pain, nested inside a larger circle labeled suffering.
Okay.
Pain, they say, is inevitable.
Oh,
It's a part of life.
right.
It's that feeling of discomfort, of sadness, of fear, of anxiety.
We all experience those emotions.
Exactly. But suffering,
Yeah.
that's optional.
Okay, so how do we avoid the suffering while acknowledging that pain is a natural part of life?
It's all about our perception,
Okay.
our interpretation of the pain.
Okay.
Suffering happens when we get stuck in those negative thought patterns,
Right.
when we resist the pain,
Yeah.
when we tell ourselves stories about what it means.
We make it mean something that it doesn't.
Exactly. We allow it to consume us.
It's like that saying pain is inevitable, suffering is optional.
Exactly. And one of the keys to minimizing suffering is
Yeah.
understanding and working with our comfort zones.
The comfort zone, that cozy little bubble we create for ourselves where everything feels safe and familiar.
But you know what they say?
What's that?
Nothing grows in a comfort zone.
That's so true.
And they illustrate this using another visual, a series of concentric circles.
Okay, concentric circles.
Yeah, so the innermost circle represents the comfort zone, the space where we feel safe and in control, as they put it.
Right.
But just outside that comfort zone lies the fear zone.
Dun dun fear zone.
Exactly, and they're not afraid to call it what it is.
Yeah.
The space where we might feel anxious, uncertain, even a little terrified.
Yeah.
It's the space where we're most likely to retreat back to the comfort zone.
Oh, yeah.
To tell ourselves, this is too hard,
Right.
or I'm not ready.
Yes.
But here's the thing.
Look at that.
Growth, real transformation,
Yeah.
that happens outside our comfort zone.
That's so true.
It happens when we're willing to face our fears and step into the unknown.
It's like we're expanding our capacity for experiencing life,
Yes.
for learning,
Yeah.
for becoming more than we ever thought possible.
I love that. And that's where the next circle comes in the learning zone.
Learning zone,
It's the space where we acquire new skills, as they say in the seminar.
right?
It's the space where we challenge ourselves, where
Mhm.
we stretch beyond our perceived limitations,
Yes.
where we embrace the discomfort of growth.
It's like we're stretching ourselves like a rubber band.
Exactly. And the more we stretch, the more we can grow.
Yeah. And the more resilient we become.
Yeah, exactly. And as we continue to push ourselves
Yeah.
to move through those layers of comfort, fear, and learning, we eventually reach the outermost circle, the growth zone.
The growth zone.
This is where we set new goals,
Okay.
where we expand our horizons,
Mhm.
where we create a life that truly aligns with our evolving purpose.
It's like we're constantly leveling up,
Yes.
becoming more aligned, more authentic, more fully expressed versions of ourselves.
Precisely. And the beauty of this framework is that it's not linear.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
We don't just move through these zones once and then we're done.
Oh, right. Okay.
Life is constantly throwing us curveballs,
Oh, yeah.
presenting us with new challenges and opportunities for growth.
New devils.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
So we might find ourselves cycling back through these zones multiple times throughout our lives,
Oh, that makes sense.
each time expanding our capacity for growth, resilience, and fulfillment.
I love that because it takes the pressure off.
Right.
It's not like you have to get it right the first time.
Right. Exactly. It's a journey, not a destination.
Okay, so speaking of journeys,
Yes.
I think it's time we circled back to this whole life purpose thing.
Okay.
We've talked about the benefits, the challenges, the frameworks for uncovering it,
Right.
but they actually address a really fundamental question in the seminar.
Oh, what's that?
Does life purpose even exist?
That's a big one.
Right.
The ultimate question.
Right, like we've been talking about it this whole time.
Yeah.
But what if it's all just a bunch of mumbo jumbo?
Right.
What if there's no such thing as a predetermined path or a grand plan?
Well, they don't shy away from that question.
They don't.
No, they present both sides of the coin.
Oh, interesting.
On the one hand, they acknowledge the belief in soul purpose,
Okay.
this idea that we have a predetermined path, calling a destiny that's been laid out for us.
And this belief system often goes hand in hand with spirituality, right?
Exactly, with the idea that we're not just physical beings,
Right.
but also spiritual beings having a human experience.
Oh.
But then they also present the other side of the equation,
Go to
personal purpose.
personal purpose.
This is the belief that we have agency, that we get to choose the meaning and direction of our lives, that we're not beholden to some grand plan.
So it's not about picking a side. It's about understanding both perspectives
Exactly.
and finding what resonates with you on a personal level.
They're encouraging you to think for yourself,
Yeah,
to question your assumptions,
Right.
and to come to your own conclusions.
I love that because there's no right or wrong answer.
Exactly. It's about what feels true for you.
Exactly. And I think that's incredibly powerful.
It's about empowering you to create a life that feels meaningful and fulfilling on your own terms.
Yeah.
Whether you believe in a predetermined path or you're forging your own way.
It's your life.
Exactly.
Right. They're saying, here are the different perspectives. Here are the different belief systems. Now go out there and explore and experiment and find what feels true for you.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of personal growth, isn't it? It's a journey of self-discovery,
Yeah.
of peeling back the layers and uncovering the truth that resides within.
Love it.
And speaking of uncovering truth, the seminar wraps up with a really interesting concept,
Okay.
the idea of balance.
Balance. Oh, that elusive state of being that we're all striving for.
Right.
But what does it actually look like, and how does it tie into this whole life purpose thing?
Well, they break it down into 7 key areas,
7 key areas. Okay.
using these overlapping circles to represent the interconnectedness of it all.
Okay.
It's like they're saying to truly live a purpose-driven life,
Yeah.
you need to pay attention to all these different aspects of yourself.
Okay, so walk us through these circles of balance. What are the 7 areas?
So they start with emotional balance,
Okay.
that foundation of being able to cope effectively with life's ups and downs, of forming healthy relationships and feeling a sense of inner peace.
So it's like having a solid emotional core,
Exactly.
a sense of stability that allows you to weather the storms and truly connect with others.
Yeah. Yes, and then there's financial balance.
Okay.
Feeling comfortable and confident in your relationship with money.
Right.
It's not necessarily about being rich,
Right.
but about having a sense of security.
The security, for sure.
Knowing that you can provide for yourself and your loved ones.
Yeah, because financial stress can be a huge burden.
Oh, absolutely.
So finding that sense of balance in your financial life, I think, can free up so much mental and emotional energy.
100%. And then we have social balance.
Okay, social balance.
Nurturing those connections with friends, family, and community.
My people.
Yes,
Exactly.
our tribe.
It's about feeling a sense of belonging, of having people you can rely on and who make you feel supported.
Right, because we're social creatures at our core.
We are.
So having those strong social connections is vital for our well-being.
Absolutely. And then there's spiritual balance,
There's spiritual balance, okay.
which can look different for everyone.
Of course.
It's about connecting with something larger than yourself.
Whether that's through religion, spirituality, nature, art.
Whatever resonates.
Exactly. Any other practice that nourishes your soul and gives you a sense of meaning and purpose.
So it's about tapping into that deeper part of ourselves.
Yes.
That part that yearns for connection to something beyond the material world.
Exactly. And then we move on to occupational balance.
Occupational balance. Okay, so our work life,
Yes, finding fulfillment and satisfaction in your work.
which I think is huge because so many people are unhappy in their jobs.
So many people.
So finding that occupational balance can be truly life-changing.
It can be, and it's about aligning your career with your values, your passions, and your skills.
Right. So it feels less like a job and more like an extension of who you are.
Exactly.
I love that.
And then, of course, we have physical balance.
Physical balance. Okay, it just take care of our bodies.
Yes, it's easy to neglect our physical health when we're caught up in the hustle and bustle of life.
So true.
But taking care of our bodies is crucial for our overall well-being.
100%.
This is about prioritizing movement, nourishing your body with healthy foods, getting enough sleep, and managing stress.
It's about treating your body with the respect and care that it deserves.
Exactly. And last but not least,
Okay.
intellectual balance.
The intellectual balance. Okay.
Like, keep your mind sharp.
Yes, this is about staying curious, engaged, and stimulated mentally.
Okay.
It's about feeding your mind with new information,
Right.
exploring different perspectives, and challenging yourself to grow intellectually.
It's like they say, use it or lose it.
Exactly.
Our brains need exercise, just like our bodies do.
100%.
Yep.
And when we're actively engaged in learning and expanding our minds, it keeps us feeling energized, inspired, and connected to the world around us.
Wow. When you break it down like that, it's clear that balance isn't just about one or two areas of life.
Right.
It's about finding harmony and alignment across all these different aspects of ourselves.
It's like creating a symphony of well-being where each instrument plays its part to create a beautiful and harmonious whole. I love that analogy, and I imagine that when we achieve that sense of balance, it creates a solid foundation for living a truly purpose-driven life.
Absolutely. When we're feeling balanced and aligned, it becomes so much easier to tap into our purpose, to make choices that are in alignment with our values, and to show up in the world as our most authentic and empowered selves.
It's like they're saying, if this resonates with you, great. If it doesn't, that's okay too.
Exactly. It's about finding your own truth.
Yeah, your own path.
And speaking of paths, the seminar wraps up with this really interesting concept,
Oh.
the idea of balance.
Balance.
Or like that elusive state of being we're all striving for.
Right. Always searching for that balance.
But what does it actually look like?
Right.
And how does it tie into this whole life purpose thing?
Yeah.
Well, they break it down into 7 key areas,
So, and okay.
using these overlapping circles to
Right.
kind of represent the interconnectedness of it all.
I like that.
Yeah, it's like a web. you know?
It is. It's all connected. Okay, so walk us through these circles of balance. What are the 7 areas?
So they start with emotional balance.
Okay, emotional balance. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's like the foundation.
Right.
Being able to cope effectively with life's ups and downs, forming healthy relationships, feeling a sense of inner peace.
So it's like having that solid emotional core,
Exactly.
that sense of stability that allows you to weather the storms
Yes.
and like truly connect with others.
And then we have financial balance.
Okay, financial balance.
Feeling comfortable and confident in your relationship with money.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Right.
Money can be such a source of stress.
Oh, tell me about it.
Right.
It's not necessarily about being rich,
Right.
but it's about having that sense of security.
Security, for sure.
Knowing that you can provide for yourself and your loved ones.
Right. And when you have that financial security, it frees you up
Totally.
to focus on other areas of your life.
Exactly.
So you're not constantly worried about money.
Right.
Okay, what's next?
Next, we have social balance.
Social balance.
Nurturing those connections with family, community.
Our people.
Yes, our tribe.
Our crew.
Exactly. It's about feeling that sense of belonging.
Belonging. That's huge.
Having people you can rely on.
Yes.
Who make you feel supported.
Because we're social creatures by nature.
We are. We need those connections.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've got emotional, financial, social. What's next?
Next up, we have spiritual balance.
Spiritual balance. Okay, so this is about like connecting with something bigger than ourselves.
Exactly. And this can look different for everyone.
Right, of course.
It's not necessarily about religion.
Right.
Although it could be.
Yeah.
It could be about spirituality, nature, art.
Meditation.
Meditation. Exactly.
Yeah.
Anything that helps you tap into that sense of awe and wonder.
Right, that sense of connection to something greater than ourselves.
Exactly.
Okay, love it.
And then we have occupational balance.
Occupational balance. Okay, so our work life.
Yes, finding fulfillment and satisfaction in our work.
Which I think is so important.
It is.
Because we spend so much of our lives working.
So much time.
So if you're not happy in your work,
yeah,
it's going to bleed into other areas of your life.
absolutely.
So how do we find that occupational balance?
Well, it's about aligning your career with your values, your
Yeah.
passions, your skills.
So it feels less like a job
Exactly.
and more like an extension of who you are.
Yes.
Okay, I like that.
And then, of course, we have physical balance.
Physical balance our bodies.
Yes. Taking care of our physical health.
Because it's easy to neglect our physical health
Yeah. So easy.
when we're busy and stressed.
Especially when we're focused on all these other areas of our lives.
Right, exactly.
But taking care of our bodies is crucial
It is.
for our overall well-being.
100%.
This is about prioritizing movement,
Movement.
nourishing our bodies with healthy foods,
Right.
getting enough sleep, managing stress.
Sleep is so important.
So important.
It's like the foundation of everything.
It really is.
If you're not sleeping well,
Yeah.
nothing else really matters.
It's true.
Okay, and last but not least,
Intellectual balance.
intellectual balance.
Yeah.
Gotta keep our minds sharp.
Yes. This is about staying curious, engaged, stimulated mentally.
Okay.
It's about feeding your mind with new information,
Yes.
exploring different perspectives,
Mhm.
challenging yourself to grow intellectually.
It's like they say, use it or lose it.
Exactly.
Right.
Our brains need exercise just like our bodies do.
They need those mental workouts.
Absolutely. And when we're actively engaged in learning and expanding our minds, it keeps us feeling energized, inspired, and connected to the world around us.
Right. And it prevents us from getting stagnant,
Exactly.
which is so important
It is.
because life is all about growth and evolution.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So when you break it down like that, it's clear that balance isn't just about one or two areas of life.
No, it's not.
It's about finding that harmony and alignment
Yes.
across all these different aspects of ourselves.
It's like creating a symphony where each instrument plays its part
I love that analogy.
to create a beautiful and harmonious whole.
It's about finding that sweet spot where everything just kind of flows together.
Exactly.
And I imagine that when we achieve that sense of balance, it creates this really solid foundation
It does.
for living a truly purpose-driven life.
Absolutely, because when we're feeling balanced and aligned, it becomes so much easier to tap into our purpose.
Right.
To make choices that are in alignment with our values, and to show up in the world as our most authentic and empowered selves.
So it's like all these pieces of the puzzle
Right.
finally clicking into place.
Exactly.
I love it. Well, this has been an incredible deep dive. We've
Yeah.
explored so much, the importance of commitment and accountability,
Yes.
the concepts of soul purpose and personal purpose.
Right.
We talked about the power of small, consistent efforts,
Those small steps.
the importance of reframing our relationship with pain and suffering. We journeyed through the comfort zone framework,
The comfort zone.
delved into the puzzle of self-discovery,
So many good insights.
explored the influence of childhood conditioning,
Yes.
learned how to create a personal manifesto for life,
Right?
and discovered the importance of balance in all areas.
Balance is key.
Balance is key. It really
Definitely
is.
it's back to balance.
It does.
Finding that harmony.
We've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
But remember, this is just the beginning.
Yes.
This is just the tip of the iceberg.
Exactly. The real magic happens when you take these insights
Yes.
and you start applying them to your own life.
That's where the real work begins.
Right.
Putting it into practice.
Exactly. So keep exploring, keep questioning, keep listening to that inner voice
The inner wisdom,
that guides you toward your most authentic and fulfilling life.
it's there waiting for you.
It is. And on that note,
Yes,
this has been an incredible deep dive,
it has.
and we can't wait to see what you discover.
As you continue on this journey of self-discovery,
The journey never ends.
it's an ongoing process.
Always evolving.
Until next time,
Yes.
keep shining your light.